connecting to the. We are live and recording, so we'll wait for a couple of more minutes for everybody to join in, and yeah, but we usually start on time. Thanks for being up so early, your time zone, Ramon. Very nice of you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, it's 6 in the morning here. Yeah.
That's a good effort. Thank you. All right, so we'll wait for a couple of 2 more minutes, and then we'll start sharp on time. So how is the weather in the Netherlands at the moment? Tell me.
It's very cold. So normally around these times, yeah, of course it differs, but currently it's -6, -7, so it's really cold. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, quite different.
Some heavy snows in the UK. Picture of very heavy snow in the Europe too. Welcome to the first attendees. Welcome, welcome. We're gonna wait 1 more minute, and before we start on time, as you know, the process. So very happy to have this last session of the year. All right, 1 more minute. All right. Let's wait a bit, and then we're going to get started. Our last Exportia Lab of the year. Unbelievable how quickly that has gone. And we've got a guest again this lab, so that's great. All right, I think we are going to kick off. And thank you for being with us, Ramon from HC Group.
You're welcome. All
the way from the Netherlands. Thanks so much. Early morning, as I said earlier. I'd like to welcome our Zoom host, as well as our LinkedIn hosts that are watching, or guests that are watching live on LinkedIn. So welcome everybody. This is our last Exportia Lab of the year. And this is the 3rd episode of an e-commerce series that we have been working on, and 3rd out of 4 episodes. We still have 1 to go. And the theme of our series is selling successfully in Europe with e-commerce. So the reason we are here is because e-commerce is a very widespread and important trend. And in 2029, 71% of the European Union population bought online. So that's a very big trend. Most of you know me, and maybe not so much the ones on LinkedIn. Basically, I'm the founder of a business called Exportia. I'm your host. I'm hosting the Exportia Labs, and I'm also an author, publishing books on exporting to Europe. This is my team based in Europe and based in Australia that make it all happen. Our goal is to scale non-EU businesses to their first €1 million in sales and beyond. And the 3 reasons, there's 3 big reasons why we're here and why we're doing that series. The first one is e-commerce is a trend to stay. Businesses have invested, they have the infrastructure, and consumers have adopted the habit. So now it is a habit. So everybody needs to jump on that train. And I think for exporters and high growth businesses, some of them maybe also SMEs, it lowers the barrier to entry into the European market. So it's an important trend for that. And from our perspective at Exportia, where we do a lot of B2B and a lot of our customers do B2B business, this is also B2B is adopting e-commerce very fast. Good to see you, Michael. Good to see you, Sanjay. Hi, everyone. And so basically on the series, on our journey together in that e-commerce series, we've talked about foreign exchange on your site and how to manage foreign exchange with eBury. We've talked about VAT on your e-shop with Bridge. And basically today, what we are doing is third-party logistics in Europe. Because it might just be the best way to be able to fulfill orders. I have a noisy environment suddenly. I hope you're not hearing that too much. And so that's why we have Ramon with us, Ramon Camp, the CEO of HC Group, which is an e-fulfilment center based in the Netherlands. And basically what they do, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ramon, fulfillment, warehousing, order processing, goods reception, and you even have, because you're an IT geek, let's say it.
Yes.
You even have your own fulfillment software. So I have a series of questions for you, and this is how we've structured the session. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen and invite you in. So thanks for coming so early for us and for our Australians time zone today. So if you can please explain to us, so let's say we have a non-European business, they're setting up their e-commerce site to be able to sell to European customers. What are the steps they need to take?
First, to start selling in Europe, you need to have a base stock, of course, with our facilities in our warehouse in the Netherlands. So the first steps you will go through are creating your business plan to be able to give us a prognosis for your volume.
Okay.
You need to select methods of selling through your web shop and selling platforms. And then we can start together in setting up your base stock here in the Netherlands and focusing on a couple of countries.
So for you, really, the one of the things that business will need to determine is really what minimum stock they need to have and at the start, really, to get started. Is that right?
Correctly, yeah. Because of course of the distance from Australia to here, it's most efficient that you are not sending in stock each day, each week, because of the cost of shipping. So you really need to determine your amounts of stock levels which are efficient to start selling. Yeah.
And are you able? So I imagine, I mean, if I know my customers, and when we start, sometimes we start with very small quantities just to get things growing. And what's a minimum stock? Like, is that easy to get a start, or is that better to start to grow some sales and then get organized? And what's your experience?
You can really start with small amounts. For us, we don't have any minimum stock amounts. We're together, we will look for the right amounts to be efficient, cost efficient, and for the business to be able to start selling. Okay, all right. So you're quite flexible, is what you're saying, basically. Yeah.
Brilliant. In terms of business plan, what do you expect? For the first year, what do they anticipate it to be? Do you expect like a 3-year plan, or what's your expectation? What do you like?
at a minimum where we expect the first year plan. So of course we don't need a 10-year 10-year schedule for your whole business, but yeah, but the best thing is a first year plan and maybe a second year to have an idea of where you are heading towards, so we can schedule ahead. So small amounts for us are of course easy to handle, but when you start growing, we still can handle this easily, but we need to know where you're growing to so we can prepare to be able to help you also in the future.
Okay, I see. And I assume we would then have, or the business would have to adjust the forecast on a regular basis for you so that you can plan.
Yeah, we require a running forecast where we can continuously adjust the changes. So we have a running forecast based on a quarterly and yearly, and then we will adjust weekly in terms of expected volume.
Okay, brilliant. And in terms of when you, in your experience, when working with, I don't know, American businesses or non-European businesses, what's the best tip you think they should know about before they start?
There is not a European web shop, so you really need to focus on a country or a couple of countries. For example, you need to translate into local languages. Of course, English is a good language to use also in Europe. Yep. But for example, if you want to start selling in Germany, the best thing is to have a German web shop, a translated German web shop with German articles in terms of translation, and yes, then market that specific area.
Okay, so you recommend to have one web shop in one language for one market, get that market started, and then moving to the next. And
correctly,
add.
Yeah, that's the best. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Was there any other tip that you think are important, or some typical mistakes you would have seen, or in that while working with your customers? Things.
The biggest mistake is not to know your focus group in the country, and therefore not have the local language, not have set up your whole service in regards to servicing in a local language. So setting up a help desk in this local language to know how you reach your local customers.
Yeah. Okay. So Sanjay is asking if, with one of our regulars, is asking if basically we are also talking about, you know, having a stock in Europe, in the Netherlands, to ship then to another distributor, to a distributor somewhere else in Europe. Is that also the case for your customers? Is that what you organize?
Yeah, we focus on mainly on brands. So most of our customers are brands, and we fulfill the whole supply chain, okay. B2B, retail, distributors, B2C. So you can use one stock to help all your customers throughout Europe, from distributors, retail to B2C.
Yeah, so I have two questions from Michael as well. I suggest we keep them for the question session, unless we can take them now. I mean, they're quite interesting. I'm sure you'll be able to answer them very easily. So what countries the Netherlands is very good at servicing? I mean, if you look at your customer base, what do they mostly ship to from the Netherlands?
If we're looking at the focus countries from our area, it's mostly Western Europe. So starting from the Nordics till the south of Europe. So the main countries are Sweden, Denmark, the Netherlands, Belgium, France, Germany, Austria, Italy, Spain, those countries.
Yeah, and I mean, your warehouse is so close to Germany and Belgium. You're almost closer to Germany than you are to the north of the Netherlands, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, it's just a 5-minute drive from here to Belgium, 15 minutes to Germany, 2 hours to France. So it's really close by. Yeah.
Okay, so I hope we've responded to Michael's question. The other question will talk about the services, but I have that in my next question, so we'll go back to that after. In terms of your offer, I've seen something that I'm very interested in for our customers and for our community is when we deal with distributors and coming, from the US, manufacturers from the US or from Australia or from Asia, we have to, if we work with the distributor, we have to show what is our green policy. And by shipping from Asia or from Australia or from New Zealand or from Canada, it is something that is a bit of an impediment. So I've seen you have a green offer, and I'd be interested to learn a bit more about that. What do you do to make those manufacturers a little bit greener?
So with our brand e-fulfilment hub, we are focusing on setting the goal of being the first European green fulfillment company. So really setting the bar high. So we want to achieve this goal in lowering the impact on the environment by using better materials, selecting the right carriers and lowering the CO2 impact, using less plastics, even that plastics can lower CO2 impact.
So that means that you can do that only if you do some packaging right locally. Is that what you're saying?
It's the shipping packaging. So of course, you will produce products and those are packaged in your factories. But we use shipping cartons with the right materials, and we also have a lot of tools to report the impact on the environment.
Okay, and so that means that as a manufacturer, if I have to report on my own footprint, if I'm dealing with a big multinational and they want me to count my carbon footprint, you'd be able to give that report. Yes,
we have live reports where you can download and which gives you the full impact of your shipping on cartons and CO2 impact. Okay, and I assume you would have an access to a massive range of different logistics provider to be able to give that. Yes, we have contracts with all major carriers in Europe. Yes. We also have direct line hauls to those countries. So, for example, of course, from our facility, you can ship to each country in Europe, also outside, with the major carriers. But for the focus countries, like Germany and Sweden, we have a direct line haul where we buy locally. So you have local shipping rates and local performance with a direct insert in those countries.
Yeah. Excellent. So in terms of, can you tell us a bit about HC Group? So you are 80, is that still the case, or are you grown and are you more than 80 people, employees at the moment?
So currently we have around 140 employees. Okay. So we are growing with 50% per year. So the company was founded in 2011. We started developing our software in 2006, but the company itself, the fulfillment company, we started in 2011, and we have been growing steadily with 50 to 100% per year, and still growing on that same trend. Yeah.
Okay. And in terms of, you mentioned to me when I asked you what other services, and that's coming back to Michael's question, you mentioned that you had a customer service. If you can list a little bit for us all the types of services that you provide, and then also talk a little bit then about the customer service that you provide as well. I think it's quite interesting.
Yeah, So of course, our main service is logistics. So we have warehouses. Our warehouses in the Netherlands are around 50,000 square meters. So we have a lot of space for our customers. There we handle all the goods from inbound to outbound storage, packaging. But then there are a couple of other services you will need in terms of servicing your customers in Europe. So we have a customer service which enables you to have a couple of local, the main local languages in Europe to communicate to your customers locally.
Yeah. So, and that customer service is mainly around following orders and this type of thing. Is that what it does?
Yes. We have great systems which enables you to live follow your order flow, your logistical flow. So you would be able to help your customers yourselves in terms of data. But of course, when you need communication to your customers in a local language by email, chat, or phone, we can help setting this up and help to service those questions from your customers.
Yeah. I have another question. While we have you, while we are lucky to have you, in terms of integration, so let's say I have a very big European customer or distributor, and they're asking me to integrate to their system. Can you help with that? To their ERP, we have to report and, connect to their system.
Yes, our basis of our company is built on software. So we have developed our own systems. That's not only warehouse management systems in the warehouse itself, but also customer portals, APIs, so open APIs to connect to our systems. We have created plugins to be able to plug and play into all major selling platforms or webshop systems. For example, Magento, but also selling platforms like Amazon. So you would be able to connect directly from our system to those systems, and we will help you set up this environment so you can start selling right away. Okay,
excellent. There was also a question around, would you do, how do you manage warranty? So if there's warranty returns, this type of thing to manage locally. And also, do you do simple assembly? So let's say, for shipping cost purposes, and if somebody sends you a lamp that is dismantled, and then it has to be, remounted locally to save on freight. Would you do that?
Yes and yes. On the return part, of course, we can handle your complete return flow. We will help you in terms of transportation to our facilities with return labels for your customer. Then we will check your goods, and if they are as new, we can put them back on stock. That's part of your SOP, operating procedure. We will check the goods, and if they are damaged, we can photograph them and put them in a report. And so you will have a complete look at and feel of how your products arrive in the warehouse. In terms of value-added services, we can offer a wide range of value-added services, with relabeling, kitting of goods, even technical parts like indeed fitting electronic parts, changing things. So we can help you with value-added services to help you setting up your complete assembly of simple assembly of products.
Excellent. Is there any other service that we haven't talked about that could be interesting for the audience to know about, that is convenient, that your customers have found convenient over time to have that?
Yes, we are able to offer you bonded warehousing. So, for example, if you do an import and export of goods, so importing goods outside of Europe to our facilities, and you want to export them again outside of Europe, if you don't have a bonded warehouse, you need to import them, pay duties, and then when exporting, it's it's more difficult and it will cost more money. So we can offer you a bonded warehouse, storing the goods in this environment, which enables you to save money on import duties.
Yeah. So if a business wants to engage with you, would you ask them to kind of map out the process that you would need to go through with them? And is that how you work?
First, we will start with the whole business plan, and then the next step is the technical implementation. So we will help to create a perfect workflow for your shop and for your order and stock flow. And after that, we can really start selling. Okay, great. Well, so I'm just going to check if there's any other question. So far, I have not seen any, so I'm just going to continue. We're about to wrap up the session. So I just wanted to say, and you still have a few minutes for more questions. So I think for exporters, it's really time to leverage the European opportunities with e-commerce. And it's so important. I know some people are a bit worried about their traditional distribution. How are they going to react with my e-shop? But the reality is that even Google will give you better rating if you have a shop. So it is important as a business to really think about it and to prepare for it. So I'm just checking. So Michael wanted to ask you, how long does it take to get started and work with you? Like, what's the onboarding process? How long does it take basically for you to onboard? It depends on the size of your business. If you want to start small, the onboarding process can be really fast in terms of weeks. If you have a bigger business, then of course we need a better preparation together. And then it can take up to a couple of months or even more. But basically, if you want to start small, the starting point and going live can be a couple of weeks. Yes. Okay. So I think that settles it. We've gone through questions. I just wanted to see, I think we've responded to all of them. I just wanted to make you aware that I'll be doing the last session, the last episode of that series on e-commerce, and then we will change topic about how to keep your traditional distribution happy, even if you have an e-commerce site, and how you can actually use it even for your traditional distribution, how this can be really helpful. So I really recommend that you join this session. It will be the first session for 2023. I really would like to thank you, Ramon, for joining us and for sharing all that information. It's really good to be able to have a touch point and somebody who we can ask questions to on this topic. So we will share Ramon's contact details in the follow-up email after the session, so you can, you can reach out to him and make sure that I'm sure he will help you out in your project. And yes, so I thank you so much for your time, Ramon, and sharing your experience. You're welcome. Waking up early, thank you. Yeah, it's not a problem. Happy to do this. Right. And everyone, this is a wrap for 2022 and our Exportier Labs. I would like to thank you everyone on LinkedIn, on the Zoom, for joining in, and especially the regulars that are here today and have followed us all year around. I'm looking forward to seeing you all in 2023 for the last episode, and then for starting a new theme again. So
I would like to say hello, goodbye, everybody. I will share, yes, Sanjay, I will share Ramon's email in the follow-up email that we'll send, not a problem at all. Okay, thanks, and we'll see you around. Thanks so much. Have a good holiday, Ramon, in the Netherlands.
Thank you, you too. Bye-bye.
And thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.